Last time on the Madness Table. Just kidding. I can't do that to Will. I can't impersonate him like that. This is Sam. And I'm here at the beginning of the episode to give a couple quick announcements. We're going to give those at the beginning of episode 79. Thank you so much for listening to 78 episodes leading up to today. It has been momentous for us to have your support. It means a lot that you continue to listen to our shenanigans. We're having a great time. Seems like you are too, so let's keep it rolling. Our first announcement is we're going to be recording another bonus action soon, and the bonus action is going to be all around the Gracklestug arc. So if you have questions about Thembershoud, the Deep King, the Blue Man group, the whole thing where we had yet another egg at one point, any questions about that entire arc, you can send those over to themadnesstable@gmail.com. Or you can join our Discord. You can send us a message on any of our socials. To find all of those links, you're going to want to go to linktr.ee-the Madness Table. That's Linktree, the Madness Table. And you know what? We hope to see you over there. Please follow us on our socials. We're cranking out memes, doing some other fun stuff in the Discord here coming up. So keep an eye out for that. And well, yeah, Will. All right. Back to you, man. Yeesh.
So we jump back in with Starcaller and Scylla. You have spent a little bit of time kind of gathering yourselves after this harrowing experience. As you made it to the bottom here, you shortly after discovered that Sephel has disappeared. And Ivan is also nowhere to be seen. You have the Minotaur body. You have clear evidence that Sephel and Ivan clearly made impact on the floor here. And to be alive is fantastical in some way or another. In your small amount of time to kind of gather your bearings and try to make sense of what's happened here, a deep gnome by the name of Hester has arrived, claiming that he's looking for some kind of expedition that has been lost from Bligdenstone. And you guys have struck a kind of odd bargain of, if you help him, he'll help you get to Bligdenstone in a very short amount of time. But you guys are kind of reeling with this odd situation of loss and the encounter with both the gnolls and these minotaurs up above. What's going through their heads right now?
Well, this day probably can't get any worse. At least we get a nice rest, and who knows, maybe this Hester fellow will turn out to be a little more competent than I gave him credit for.
I think Scylla is definitely more contemplative than usual, but I do not have... We've met a lot of people in the Underdark who seem one way and are another way. So until I know what other way Hester is, I will not be too optimistic. But that being said, I am very excited to explore this history within this cave.
What kind of activities here do you guys take to kind of like patch yourselves up here?
I mean, for Artomis, he's just like bandaging himself up with some loose gauze and a little bit of linen. Maybe expending a little bit of his healing hands here and there to kind of help ease his pain.
Yeah, I think Scylla's got some stretching that she does to wind down, cool down the muscles. She's got some salve that she puts on all the bruises from the Minotaurs. Yeah.
Okay. And any other particular thoughts as to why Sephel would truly just get up and leave? Especially you, Scylla. You've known him the longest out of the two of you. You've lost a lot of people recently for various reasons.
Yeah. Scylla... I think Scylla's trying really hard to understand what would have made someone make a decision like that, because it's not a decision that she would have ever made, probably. So in her mind, Sephel is either coerced under duress, and it wasn't his decision to leave, but he's in danger.
Mm-hmm.
But she also knows that he's extremely powerful. So she's less likely thinking that, and she's more thinking that she's known that his Mind Flayer side is growing stronger. When she first met him, he barely ate brains, and he's just been like slowly changing and kind of
now
embracing.
He's just buffet every time.
Yeah, now
Well,
he's
I mean,
just like,
someone here's been
cerebral.
encouraging him to keep eating the brains.
Yeah, well, you know.
I learned from watching you.
So I think she also has, I think, a part of her that questions that he's been pushed too far lately, and this fall was probably like extreme, and so his brain and his body are different now, is all that she can assume.
Yeah.
That perhaps he's given into those side of him that is more animalistic. So she wants to trust that he's making the decision of his own free will.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I think probably turns her in that favor is because he wrote S. Crew in the Magiccutioner. Had he wrote like something less like friendly, I think she would have been more concerned.
Yeah.
But he's obviously still in somewhat his right mind.
Okay. All right.
And I think for Artemis, is like he's kind of relieved because he was pretty damn sure that Sephel was dead.
Yeah.
And that he is alive, and also he's a part. And Artemis has lost a lot of people since coming into Underdark. And I think Sephel might be the only one who is left, like that was not left behind, and who is still alive.
Yeah.
If I could add as well, I think Sephel being in his right mind and choosing to leave is also a bit of betrayal. Of like, I'm going to leave you down here to figure it out. And I think that Scylla's got some more rage just simmering under the surface.
Sure. Yeah. In those moments of whipping around, and that anger towards Hester was part of it, summoned up from all these feelings towards Sephel in this moment. Hester, you see a deep gnome is kind of splashing around at the edge of this deep pool of water. He has just thrown some kind of helmet off of him and is like trying to claw their way up with these large metal gauntlets attached to some kind of suit. And the best way I can describe this to you guys is like the old-fashioned atmospheric nautical suits that they would use for diving. So like it's got the big metal helmet that had like the couple porthole like holes, and if you look up there are some that were entirely made out of thick steel, kind of very similar to suits of plate armor, and that was so they could go to deep pressures, and they kind of look like giant lobster suits. It's very similar to that on this small gnome, is this full kind of metal suit, and they're trying to get out, and they're like, help! But they don't necessarily see you, Hester. They're just kind of calling out to anybody that could be there.
Do they look like they're of their right mind? They're just, like, distraught in some way?
Make an insight check.
Okay. Uh, 15.
You think that they're definitely desperate to get out of this pool. They seem semi-hysteric. You don't know what the suit is that they're kind of wearing, like its purpose. But other than them kind of desperate to get out of the water, you're not sure if something else is going on with them.
Okay. I will, No, I will rush up to them. Hold on, I gotcha. And, he's going to try to help this individual, get out of the water.
Okay, make an athletics check.
Okay. Four.
Okay, you grip onto this very large plated hand, this gauntleted hand, and it's so slick, and there's like this slime that's also on it, and it just like rips out of your hand, and he splashes back down into the water. But you can see his arms like trying desperately to reach up again.
Okay. Can I try to get in there and, like, is there a way to detach him from the suit?
You would have to, like, get in the water and take... it would take some very seriously high-check investigations, because you've never seen this suit before.
Okay. I will... Is he, like, under the water? Like, is he drowning right now?
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay.
You'd think this pool of water where he currently is about 15 feet deep. He looked like he was kind of like holding on to kind of like semi-coral ridges and like bits of rock, trying to like climb his way up in this suit. But now you just see him like slowly sinking back down, flailing.
Oh shit. Okay. I don't have anything for this. I'm going to run to the mouth of the tunnel and just call back down. Mr. Starcaller, Lady Scylla, I need a hand up here.
You guys hear Hester's calling voice coming from the tunnel entrance. Oof.
Yeah,
He's gonna take some damage.
On Starcaller's part, there's no question. There's just reaction. He's just up, and he has Dawn Edge in one hand and his epee in the other, and he is just running.
Okay, you start sprinting towards it. Scylla, what about you?
Yeah, I think Scylla wakes up, and she immediately bounces up, and then she realizes that this deep gnome invaded the Naute cavern without her. And she is very upset, and she is going to be climbing very quickly and angrily.
Seems like there's going to be some multi-classing into Barbarian next level up. You guys start sprinting after. Hester, you hear them scrambling awake, and you know the gnome that you left back there is still drowning.
Uh-huh.
What do you do?
I'm literally just gonna go in and be like, help is coming. Is there anything in the gear that the other deep gnomes left that I could use to, like, pull this guy up?
You see that there are two large coils of rope, and you see grappling hooks. Other than that, you see what looks like have you guys ever seen the old like wind-up keys for very antique toys?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You see what look like odd ones of that, and then like through the tube like end is what it would be like a socket essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Like a socket wrench, but it has like that key like twisting shape. You see a couple of those as well.
Okay, I'm just gonna try to, like, take some coils of rope and, like, tie them around the arms of this suit and try to use them as something to hold on to, so I'm not grabbing that, like, slippery substance, and just try to, like, haft it over my shoulder and, like, walk away from the pool trying to pull this guy up.
Okay. Make a... You throw this down. Are you throwing the grappling hook end down, or are you just throwing rope?
No, I'm taking rope and I'm, like, trying to tie it off to the arms.
He is, like, down at the bottom now.
Oh, he's, like, 15 feet underwater right now?
Yeah, he's in a heavy metal suit, and you ran off towards the tunnel.
Okay.
He's sunk to the bottom.
I will dive down into the water and try to get those ropes around the suit.
Okay. You dive down and you see like very few bubbles. Excuse me, as I dropped a die when I was rolling damage on this fool. Very few bubbles escaping from his lips as he is now just kind of ever so slightly floating. And you manage to get the ropes tied around him. And you can start swimming back towards the surface. Scylla and Artomis, I'm assuming you guys are still running up the tunnel?
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's go ahead and roll for initiative, but can the two of you move your pawns 30 feet forward, or you can double... I'll let you double move, because it's been a handful of seconds. And we're just going to do this because this gnome has taken enough damage to go unconscious. Hester, what do you have?
Sorry.
That's you.
That is a 14.
14. Scylla?
Dirty 20.
Nice.
Artemis.
18.
Okay. So first up is going to be the diver, making a death saving throw. He failed with a 5. Next up is Scylla.
I mean,
You
yeah.
see bubbles coming from this watery surface. Gosh, how far away are you right now? You are in a direct line to the east. You are 90 feet away from these bubbles, and you can see a rope leading down into the water.
But our new deep gnome friend is also gone.
Yeah, all you see is a lot of bubbles and coming up to the surface from that particular spot. You also happen to notice the body of what looks like a deep gnome over here to the south. And then you see kind of the encampment kind of features. You also see the gigantic sword hilt and a little bit of rusted blade sticking out of the water. And you see more and more of the swirls kind of semi-illuminated, taking up more of this cavernous space, applying this blue soft glow light around you.
Yeah, she's like super distracted by all of that. But I will dash forward my full 30 plus 30.
Okay, Artemis, you're up. You see everything I've just described.
All right, I'm gonna continue on as well. I do have a little bit faster movement speed, so I get to move 70 on a double move. That gets me just next to the edge of the water. So let's kind of peer down and see if I can see anyone struggling to leave the surface by that rope.
I will say with your passive perception, it's enough to pick out that you see some kind of larger, bulky figure down below, and you see the quicker moving form of what you believe to be Hestor down there as well.
Cool.
Okay, Hester, you're up. You have this rope around this steel figure.
Okay. I am going to swim up and break the surface and get back onto the water's edge with the rope like over my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just gonna yell, "He's drowning down there! Pull! Help me!" And he's just like over his shoulder, like trying to wrench it up.
Okay. Make an athletics check.
10.
Okay. You're starting to make a couple of steps forward, but now that the gnome in this suit is no longer conscious, it's definitely tougher. We are back up at their turn. They just succeed this death saving throw. So Scylla, you're now up. You see Hester has appeared up on the surface and he's yelling about somebody down below, pulling on this rope. What do you do?
Yeah, I will sprint forward 20 feet. I'm standing behind this Hester pulling this rope. I will grab the rope and begin to pull it as well.
Okay. Great. Make an athletics check at advantage because Hester's already pulling on it.
25.
Okay. Yeah, you all see the head of the deep gnome unconscious slumped over, its head resting on the ridge of where the helmet attached, pop up out of the water. He's just slack, but he's not all the way out yet. Artemis, you're up. Are you going to help them pull him out?
I'm actually going to reach down, and I'm going to see if I can attempt to pass 1 point of health to him through my healing hands.
Okay, yeah, you absolutely can. And you do, and all of a sudden, all this water... And I will say that with that and Scylla and Hester pulling, you guys manage to pull him out. You hear clank, clank as he pulls out, and his large steel-encased form kind of tumbles over. And he's thank you.
Hester's like kind of over him, like helping him, like patting the back of his head, getting the rest of the water out there. Come on now. Come on. Spit it up.
What is this contraption?
What in the 9 hells are you wearing, and why are you in that water?
He's like blinking and trying to like wipe at his eyes, but his metal encased arms can't really reach there. In his massive boxy gloves, he can't even get there. But he like looks at you, Artemis. He's like, "What in the world?" And then he turns over at Scylla and he just starts screaming.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No, the terrifying woman is with us. It's okay.
I can knock him out.
Just flailing like, no, you won't take me like you take them. You won't take me.
I'm just gonna slap him.
Scylla will step back. I'll step back out of eye line.
You slap him and he's still hysteric and he's like grabbing you. He's like, we gotta go now. We gotta go. And he's like trying to like turn himself over in this suit, but it's just too heavy for him.
Man, get a hold of yourself.
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
You're a gnome, not a child.
I'm gonna put a foot on his chest and just like snarl down at him. What are you doing here?
Roll an intimidation check. I'll give you advantage on that. He's pretty spooked right now.
Woo! That's good fast natural 20.
Ooh.
For a... I don't use this. 22.
Okay. He's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. Stop. Mr. Starcaller, give him a minute, please. The man was drowning a second ago.
I couldn't help him. I couldn't get to him in time. They were all around us. They were coming after the suit.
Speak the common tongue. What's going on?
Louis, are you from Blington Stone? I don't recognize you.
I am. I definitely am. We haven't had the pleasure yet. Stone Tooth.
Trusk, Shovelstock.
Trusk.
TRS.
I can spell, goddammit.
TRUSK. Shovel, and then stock, like in stock market.
You don't even know what that is.
I don't. I don't know why I said that. My mind's all over the place. S-T. I don't know the rest of the letters. I didn't learn them all. I can't spell. I just know how it's said. Listen, you heard about our expedition, did you?
I did.
Well, we came out here with these new suits that would help us get down there in the water. You could see all the lights and the crystal. We thought we might find something else for the city down here, and that sword over there. And he's like on his back. He's pointing over, kind of like a turtle laying on their shell. He's pointing towards the giant sword sticking out of the water. He's like, hey, we thought there might be more. And so we put on these suits thinking we wouldn't be affected if the waters got too deep. And we might be better protected to search for whatever could be out there, but God, they came out of nowhere. Gaping maws and tridents and these large fins looking like her.
What? You saw?
They attacked us. Came at us like savages.
Scylla is like hurrying back over to this person.
No, leave me alone! Leave me alone! Get back!
Stop!
It's
Stop!
okay. It's okay. She's kind of nice.
Don't
You. I will not hurt you, but you will answer my questions. You saw others like me?
Yeah, yes.
When?
I don't know. I just started running, hiding behind every rock and crevice I could find. We got in the water hours ago. Kept following the tunnels. And then we saw these beautiful, massive structures down below. More of these lights, more of these carvings, and then I saw Joseph. I heard a screaming and echo, and then there was just blood in the water, and it was like sharks coming in and just tearing us apart. I could feel things scraping on the steel. Look, and you look, and sure enough, you see these deep furrows and scratch marks in various places, denting this steel dive suit that he's wearing.
How many?
Gordon, I don't know how many. I don't know. They were everywhere.
I think his story sounds terrifying to everyone else, and Scylla's just getting really, really excited. I think she's amped up, and she starts looking into the water, and unless someone stops her, she's gonna dive.
I'm tending to this guy.
Yeah, I feel like Artemis just like nods at her, is like, "Don't be gone too long. We know they are like you, but we do not know if they are like you."
She nods and goes for a swim.
Okay. You dive into this water, and it's pretty dark, and as you kind of like open your eyes and they adjust, I almost imagine kind of like the two lens kind of a thing, like the initial eyelids open, then another set, and your eyes just change entirely as you're in your natural element here, and you are met by this huge humanoid skull right in your face of this large, very, very large, almost huge creature that is laying on top of these rocks with the sword buried through the rib cage. And as you swim about, you see this large pool dips down to about 25 feet deep at its deepest, and then it continues on through a low-lying tunnel, but you can see more of these carved like reliefs where a single kind of like dot of glow seems to follow your movement, illuminating more of the area, comes up with you. And as you move farther out towards this smaller opening that leads deeper, you see a yellow illuminated circle as another one of these metal suit figures is like slowly running through the water, kicking up sand and rocks as it's making its way towards you. What do you do?
She's like, I've got other things to do, but I guess I could save your life.
So you're gonna swim towards them, try to help them out?
Yeah, I mean, I think she's assuming here that this person is with the other guy, and then he probably doesn't want to be in the suit anymore, and he's probably scared of her, but it's fine. She'll do what she can.
Okay. Yeah, you swim towards them, and immediately whoever's inside of the suit is like trying to get away from you, but you are far faster in movement than these guys in their suits, and so you manage to make an athletics check at advantage here. I'll say between your aquatic agility, and even though they're in full steel, the water's buoyancy kind of helps you.
25.
Yeah, you manage to like latch onto them and start swimming them towards the edge. Do you put them over by where all the others are, or do you bring them up to another lip? Where do you think you're going?
Yeah, I wanna bring them over by Starcaller in case they need healing. So okay. I'm gonna try and put them next to their friend, who I assume is their friend. So I'll like drag him up out onto the shore.
Okay. So you pull them up and they're like flailing at the helmet, and Trusk, who you guys were speaking with, who's calmed down a little bit now, starts kind of panicking again, and he's like, I think that's Corden. I think that's Corden. Get his helmet off. Just twist it off.
Yeah, I'll run over and help get the helmet off.
You twist it off and you pull it away, and there's a gasp, and you can hear like the air just come out as you twist off the helmet, and there's this heavy breathing. I didn't know they could walk on land. I had no idea they could walk on land.
I'm
And
quite
he's like,
good at it.
God, that's terrifying. I'm sorry. We didn't know we was in whatever area that was yours. I'm sorry.
This isn't one of the. Well, it is, but it's not one of the. Corton, Mr. Pickshine. Do I have the pleasure of speaking to you?
Yeah, yes. Oh, Trusk, and he sees Trusk, and he's like trying to turn around and say, "You're alive. I didn't think you'd make it. Did the others make it?" And Trusk's like, "No, I didn't see anybody make it."
Mr. Pickshine, I know this is a terrible timing, but I came here to find you and hopefully bring you back safely to Bligdenstone, or at least find out what was all going on. What the hell is all going on?
I don't know, but I need to get out of this damn suit. I can't go back into that water. And he's like trying to reach over and get to what looks like a large nut on his arm. Okay. And he's like, there's a key over by the bags. Can you grab it?
The like large, almost wind up thing?
Yeah.
Do I think he's referring to that?
Yes, you would. You think, because the corresponding shape on the armor looks similar.
Okay, I will run over and grab that and bring it to him.
You grab that, and he's like, oh, thank you. And he's just able to get it on his own. He starts twisting it, and then eventually you hear, and like this large forearm and gauntlet just slips off, and he starts doing it to different pieces of himself. As he starts to get more and more of himself free, as he gets to like the torso part and most of that comes off, he starts like just peeling himself out of the rest, and he tosses the key to Trusk. He's like, here, Trusk. And he goes, me and some of my buddies had come on here weeks ago. I don't know, maybe months ago.
You've been gone for about 2 weeks.
No, that makes sense. We didn't get here too long ago, and we spent most of our time just trying to see what we could do with that damn big sword over there, but no luck. We couldn't get it to budge, and whatever that massive skeleton belongs to down there, it looks like a giant person of some sort, but then we couldn't give up, so we thought we'd go deeper, and as we did, we encountered some of the most beautiful pieces of work and stone carving and coral and life we'd never known existed down here. But as we got farther into this, I could only describe it as like a rotunda of some kind, and there seemed to be some kind of large, I don't know, relief on the far edge with what looked like a large man or figure kind of chained to it all. Then we just heard these screeches, and then these, I don't know, long-tailed humanoid people came after us with spears and tridents and pikes and started tearing us apart, and it was awful. And then there was this darkness that just seemed to turn off all the lights that came over us, just shadows everywhere and screams, and then I don't know, I woke up in the water and felt like I was running out of air, and with what little bit of light I had from the suit, I started making my way back here. Is that what happened to you, Trusk? And Trusk is nodding his head as well as he's undoing more of the pieces to his arm, and he's like, that's all I know too.
You mentioned a darkness. Can you talk more about that? What was it? Was it a creature? Was it a...
I don't. And this is Corton speaking up again. He's like, I don't know. There there was all this beautiful illumination just like on the walls here, and then it's like it all just turned off. And this long, like, cloud came over us, and when we looked up, it was just like, as if you were looking at the sky, it just gone, just darkness. But I could hear the screams echoing and the scratches on the armor and the banging on my helmet. I don't know.
DM, this darkness that they're referring to, this isn't the same thing as the transparent, like, magical dust from Bligdenstone, is it?
This
doesn't
different.
sound reminiscent.
The way that he's described it makes you think that something very large and far more corporeal must have covered or somehow overshadowed them.
So, like, some large creature attacked them.
Potentially,
like
but
that.
He did describe these mermaid-esque people that appeared from, like, the surrounding architecture in this rotunda and just started attacking them as they were making their way in, and some kind of figure or other being chained to the far back of this kind of like wall in the back of the rotunda.
Gordon, is it?
Cortin. Cortin.
What is it with them and
Why is
spelling?
they like to show that they can have basic intelligence. It's
Very
it's
literate
a
folk
weird
down
thing.
here.
I'm a pick shine, and I was taught some things by my daddy and my mama.
Corton, could you describe the individual who's chained?
I didn't get to see them very well, but honestly, and he looks back towards the pool and points at the skeleton you guys can barely see in the water. Something like that.
Anaute.
I don't know what that is or what that means, miss. But I could use a moment to sit and rest if you don't mind.
Yes, one last question. The people that you ran into, they looked like me?
Similar, they're very fish-like, but they had these very large mouths. Now that I'm looking at you, no offense, much bigger mouths than yours, filled with rows of teeth, and while they had fins everywhere, they didn't wear armor like you, per se, and they certainly didn't have legs. It was just long tails. But they had arms like yours.
Would I know who these are?
You would think that it's potential that this could be a type of merfolk, though they tend to look more like you. Some of it sounds reminiscent of Sahagin.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one other, shoot, I'll try to think of it here. But you would think it's leaning towards more this one that I can't actively recall for some reason, and the Sahagin more than a merfolk.
I believe that he is described in the Sahuagin. They are a
Interesting.
chaotic people. We've lived with them in harmony before, but occasionally they are less peaceful.
Will is the other one you're thinking of, the Lokatha?
No,
Okay.
actually.
Well, I'm fucking useless then.
Is it a marrow?
It might be the marrow I'm thinking of. I've just pulled up like all the aquatic stuff,
Fish
and I
people
think
of D&D.
I think Andrew got it. I think it's the marrow.
That sounds right.
Nice job.
One of us knows shit.
Once I absolutely confirm it, I'll probably give you a point of inspiration because I think you're dead on. So yeah, you think it's one of those two that he's describing.
Scylla's like very disappointed because she was super hoping it was Triton. I would like to head over to this giant skeleton and check out the sword and the being itself. Because she's never seen a Naute, but she's seen like these reliefs before and the like glow that happens when you approach them, but she's never been near these beings.
Yeah. Yes, Andrew, you are correct. Marrow, take a point of inspiration, but nice job. You didn't necessarily get out of the water. You've just kind of been like sitting at the edge. So you sink back into the waves and you go down in, and the limbs and structure of this creature is huge. You know, judging off of what you can see of the bones, you think this individual must have been 25 feet tall. Massive individual. Humanoid in every shape, you know, without any kind of cartilage or skin or musculature left. You know, it's hard to say, you know, what their form really looked like. Yeah. However, make me a medicine check.
Alrighty. 8.
Okay. You see, judging off this, because I imagine you've come across, you know, larger skeletons, not necessarily like this, but in the deep, you see certain signs, and very much like how we are able to study bones here in real life. Like, one of the best examples I have is I remember watching a thing on like the Colosseum in Rome, and how they were able to identify gladiators, the bodies of gladiators, the skeletons, and same with like English bowmen from, you know, the 100 Years' Wars. You could see that the bones developed thicker and stronger from repeated heavy use of like the long draws, and, you know, the scarification and stuff. And so you could see that this individual was a heavy swimmer. You know, you see the same kind of things that you would recognize on your own people in their skeleture. Jeez, I can talk. You see a lot of like deep bone scars, even some like calcium and whatnot in between ribs, suggesting that there are pieces of metal that were stuck within the body as well. The other thing, and probably the most interesting besides this odd, spectacular sword, is you see what look like these thin chains wrapped around the wrists of this that kind of glow and shimmer a little bit in the water here.
Okay. Interesting. Do they can I pull one of the chains off?
Yeah, you're able to get both of them off, and as you do, it just becomes these really long, deep blue metal chains that just kind of like appear, just woof, in your hands, these long lengths. You think it's got to be at least 100 feet worth of chain.
Okay. I will put those into the bag of holding.
You tuck them into the bag of holding, reeling them in, digging them up. As for the rest of you, what are you guys doing as Scylla's down in the water doing this?
There's a few other of these steel-clad bodies here on the surface, right?
Yes. So there's one that you guys are basically right next to the north of you, and then one on the other side of this kind of like little stream that goes down towards where you guys had been before in the ravine.
Are they wearing like these same kind of steel like diving suits that these other gnomes are wearing?
No, these guys are just wearing kind of regular leathers and mining kind of attire. And Cortrin could, like, since he's now free, could point out, he's like, oh gosh. Oh, now I gotta think of random names off the top of my head.
Yes, dance for me, dear.
Bert,
Dance for me.
Bert.
This one
Ernie.
one here, he's pointing to the
Ernie.
one to the north. He's like, this is Daniel Golkeen,
They lose. Oh.
and This one to the south is what was the first name you called out, Sam?
Daniel Day-Lewis or Bert.
Burt Woodchest.
And they will
I hope someone wrote those names down because I'm not going to remember them.
I don't care about those
I
names. They will be written on no tombstone.
Okay. And Cortrin and Trusk are pretty upset. They're like, what happened to him?
I was going to ask you. I assumed that you would know.
No, I don't know.
So are they part of your? They're part of your party, though.
Yeah, they were the ones here to wait for us as the rest of us went down below in the suits. They were going to help us come back up.
Sir, how long have you been underwater?
Gosh, Trusk, you have any idea? I think I lost consciousness out there. Just like I don't know.
Can I try
hang
to see
on,
how
and
long these bodies have been
You
dead?
can make a medicine check.
Yeah.
The both of you are able to.
Yeah.
Trusk goes over to one of his bags and he like pulls out this odd kind of clock / gauge there, and he goes, I think we were down there about 10 hours.
Jeez. 22 on the medicine
22?
check.
16 for me.
16 star color. Okay. You both reckon that these guys have been dead about 3 hours. So rigor mortis is setting in, but it's not fully set in yet. The other things you notice is that they have what look like these odd, very thin, like puncture marks, similar to a bite. But then you see what looks like this kind of bruising in this like large kind of V or oval around where these teeth-like puncture marks are on random parts of the body. And then you see what look like small like suction cup hickeys as well on random like parts of the skin, and you can see where the cloth had been ripped away, where something had gripped it in some kind of tentacle perhaps.
Interesting.
Looks like something got to them. Not quite
And
sure.
Starcaller, you would reckon that these tentacle markings are where they kind of formed this like rhombus diamond like pad, one at the top, one at the bottom, two on the sides, different from Sephel.
Bigger or smaller, would I say, than our beaked companion?
You'd say larger.
It would seem that while you encountered dangers beneath, that these two poor gentlemen perhaps came across some sort of cave creature, and Starcaller's taken another like more detailed look around at like the cave ceiling and the walls, see if there's any like hiding spaces for any sort of creatures.
Yeah, Hester is going to look around the bodies as well and see if there's any tracks from said creature.
Okay, for tracks, you make a survival check, Hester. Starcaller, I would say if you're looking for something deeper than on the surface, make an investigation check.
Okay, ooh, 16 investigation.
Nice. Okay. You're looking about and you see more and more of these kind of circular and beautiful reliefs with these lights kind of hovering, and they move with your movement, and you can see multiple dots, and you think they represent all of you, but they never stray outside of like the crystalline pathways in that they're embedded in. You do see what looks like falling droplets of water, as there looked like there was some kind of splash that hit the surface up above, and the ceiling is about 35 feet high in here, guys, just at its apex. But you're not. It looks like splashes reach there from the water below, but it also could be just moisture dripping down from the stalactites.
Mm-hmm.
I got a 17 on my survival check.
Okay. You see it's hard because of all the water that has splashed along the edges here. But you see scrapes in the stone from where the suits had probably sat on the side or stood on the side and then jumped in. You see scratch marks from where these guys had tried to climb up and out. You don't, however, see anything leading away from the area or in the area that looks abnormal from your own footprints or theirs.
Okay. Nothing surrounding the bodies or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
No. Their tracks are everywhere here. It's hard to distinguish.
This is not a safe place. We cannot remain here for long.
No, Mr. Corton, we should take you and Trusk here. We have a small camp set up down the tunnel. We can at least get you there and have you rest somewhere safe while we figure out what to do next.
Oh, that sounds good. I very much don't want to remain here as much as I would like to wait for my friends. Perhaps we could just leave a lantern or something just in case. Perhaps a rope in the water to help them up, should any of them have made it otherwise.
Of course, I can see to that, and in any case, I will wait for Scylla's return. My friend, how many divers went down with you in your group?
Besides Trusk and myself, just 2 others.
Very well. We will keep an eye.
All right. Thank you. Hester, do you lead them towards the camp that you guys had set up outside of this cave?
Yeah, I'm going to lead them back there and sort of get them situated.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. He would probably stay with them for at least a few minutes and make sure they were okay and try to figure, basically just comforting them and trying to get any more information out.
Okay. Artomis, you wait, and Scylla, you finally gathered up all this chain. Do you kind of continue investigating here, or do you surface? You can do what you'd like here.
Yeah, I want to, there's 2 things I want to do. I want to check out the sword, and then I also... Yeah, perhaps I just check out the sword first. Also,
Okay.
I want to see if I can learn anything from it. Is it movable?
You, as you're swimming around the skeleton and you start investigating the sword has to be about 12 to 15 feet long, you reckon. You figure a good chunk of it has to be embedded with the stone, and some of the skeleton that has calcified around the base there. You see the beautiful kind of Damascus-esque patterns of folded metals you eventually identify of adamantine and mithril, and it goes up into this very streamlined kind of hilt and grip, suggesting by the construction that it was made to be used in the water. Very, very similar into how your weapons are constructed. Very lightweight and thin in many ways to be able to cut through the water without much resistance, giving you advantages over anybody else in the waves.
Yeah, I think she would leave the sword. Are there any designs on the pommel or anything?
Make an investigation check.
I've got 15.
Okay. You see what looks like, how do I describe it? You see an insignia, I imagine you kind of get up there, you jump up, you grab onto the hilt or the crossguard, and you kind of pull yourself up, and you see kind of on the pommel there is what looks like a spearhead of some sort with either a tentacle or some kind of thing wrapped around it.
Okay, and then I think the sword is sticking out of the water?
Yeah, there is, I forget what I said exactly. I think there's about 6 feet of it that is sticking out of the water.
I will land back down again. and call over. I should like to continue exploring, but what have you found out?
Oh, there's something else in this cavern. There are two of their compatriots who are here on dry land, and they were also slain by some other means. I believe there's some sort of creature about.
An aquatic creature?
It's just possible. It seems it has a beak and tentacles of some kind.
Sephel?
No, I thought of that too, but no, it doesn't seem to be the right shape. Nor size, but no,
Okay.
by all means, if you wish to continue exploring, I can hold my vigil here just as well.
Yeah, I should like to look around a bit more. She will return to the water. I do want to head in the direction of where they were running from to get... I just want to see if I can see further out. Like, does this truly empty into the dark lake?
Okay. So you start swimming out that way. Artemis, are you heading towards the camp, or are you going to wait for Scylla to come back?
I'm going to stay here with Scylla, and I'm going to keep an eye out and hope that Dawn's Edge will aid me as well.
Okay. Yeah, she kind of lays across your lap, and she sits and wait with you as well. Scylla, you swim out farther following this tunnel that leads deeper into the waters, and your eyes continue to adjust as it gets darker. There's not much of the coral illumination that you're used to back home in the city of Coral. And as you make your way out, you are following this for hundreds of feet, and then as it starts to get a bit wider, as it was only about 30 feet tall and about 30 feet wide, kind of following this perfect kind of cylinder tunnel, you actually see towards the bottom is what looks like one of these armored figures laying down.
I will swim toward this figure. Can I see through its, like, visor thing?
It's lying on, like, its stomach, so you would have to, like, flip it over to, like, you look in from the back and you see what looks like a head, but then, like, you're like, oh, I gotta flip him over.
Yeah, I'll flip him.
Okay, you flip him over and you see the whole front out of this helmet has been, like, melted, and the face of this gnome is just gone.
Oh.
Like, skull, the brain, all the tissue inside just picked clean.
Just turn that bad boy back over.
Yeah, she respectfully turns him back over.
Okay, you turn him over and you can see all these scratch and dent marks, and you actually see what looks like the point of a spear caught in between the folds in the armor as well, and like the elbow where he'd be able to move around without water getting in. But yeah, that's what you see there. Do you keep moving further out?
Yeah, I don't think that Scylla is capable of not going further to see what this city of Coral would have looked like.
Okay. You keep swimming out, and this is like, I have that phobia of the deep ocean. I don't know about y'all.
100%.
So, like, I love this, but I also fucking hate it describing this. But if you've ever seen documentaries of, like, I forget what they're called, but I think they're like blue holes. They're just like cave holes out in, either the jungles or out in the waters themselves. They just dip down and then they become these cave systems. Like, this is what this is like. But there's these reliefs, and so we just see darkness on one side to the far left, darkness to the far right, and this single bead of light following in these intricate reliefs on the wall, just following the slowly swimming, kicking legs of Scylla in this tunnel as she just keeps going and going on her own, the bubbles kind of leaking behind her. And eventually it starts to open up, and you see these these pillars starting to stretch out, and it starts to open up wide, but it's still dark. You can see it's in the shades of bluish kind of gray out there, and you see what looks like columns starting to go out more and more. And you can see in like the sands and the silt at the bottom here what looks like multiple footsteps of shifted sand. There's been lots of movement here, and you see what look like broken spears and different kind of bits of metal there. And as you continue to go up in the darkness, you find half sunken into the sand the last remaining deep gnome, and the whole top half that is not sunk within the sand of this metal suit has just been like ripped open, like it exploded from inside. But then you just see like arms raised, the body just kind of floating half in this suit. But then all around you is just darkness, and up above you, you just see darkness.
But when I swim, the reliefs continue to light?
You're not close enough now to any kind of walls for those reliefs to be providing you any light, and now you don't see any light anywhere.
Okay, so I'm really just seeing my dark vision 60 feet out, and that's it.
Yeah.
Huh. But I'm not even getting like... I mean, sorry.
Make an insight check.
Yeah. Like, I don't think that this scares her.
No, this is familiar, but something's different.
16.
Okay. The waters here are colder, far colder than you've felt before. This is the type of cold in the depths near the trench that you would all kind of teasingly get towards each other. You don't know if this is the trench. You can't see far enough into the darkness to know. But you also feel this like hum that kind of throbs in the surrounding waters and vibrates even in the sands in the body. And like you even look at the body and you just see this like faint shudder go through it, ever so imperceptibly almost. What do you do?
Yeah, she realizes that she's likely surrounded by centuries-old magic, from what she believes, embedded within the trench at the bottom of the dark lake. Which means that she is incredibly deep. I think she will like trail her hand along the bottom of what she believes to be the trench, just because, I mean, she would never have dared to touch the bottom of the trench. She doesn't know how many people have, if anyone has.
Yeah.
So I think she's kind of exploring it in that way.
Okay. You start running your hand through the sand and the old coral and shells that litter the floor here. And as you continue forward, you feel stone touch your fingertips. And as you continue forward, you see what looks like stone blocks making kind of this floor start to appear in your field of vision. And then it starts to go up to kind of like this dais, and then it hits a wall. And you can see reliefs there, but there's no illumination. You can see the kind of like crystalline reliefs, and you're like, I know this is supposed to illuminate, like it's always done this, but nothing happens. And as you look up, it seems like there's something darker about 60 feet up along the wall there, and it seems to kind of form this star-like shape.
Oh yeah, she's gonna swim up and check that out.
You start swimming up, and as you do, you see what looks like a large, heavy metal ring with chain on your left that starts to go up, and then on your right, in about the same equidistance, they both start to flow up, and I can just see you ever so slightly like just floating upwards, just complete silence. The cold, the pressure pushing in on you, and then all of a sudden you see this large humanoid foot in a manacle appear, and a second one, and you continue to drift up, and then you see this like bluish gray skin of this incredibly large humanoid manacled in a star-like formation against these stone walls, spread out. It's got these clothes, kind of waistcloth. You see scars decorate its body. You see this blindfold covering it where its eyes are, but it's beautiful. Beautiful figure. And this long kind of silvery hair flowing out in the water. And you see, very similar to the reliefs on the wall decorating their skin, are these beautiful kind of lines. And I don't mean this to any respect, but it's like, I think I'm pronouncing it right, like the Maori, like the South Pacific tribes people, like they're beautiful, absolutely beautiful kind of like tribal markings. It's similar, but a combination of like woad markings and that kind of make these odd patterns along their skin. And you think, by all accounts of anything you'd ever heard, this is a Naute. And as you get up to its face, which is twice the size of yours, underneath this mark, you see what look like two bright white eyes open. You just see the illumination, and its mouth opens and it just echoes out, "Run!" And then you look up, and far above you, you see this gargantuan eye open in this brazen purple, yellow, orange light, this large cat-like slit, and right across the middle, another slit, just, and this deep call just in the waters. And you remember this eye. This is an eye of Dagon.
Of course.
The two of you back in camp. Starcaller, you've been waiting patiently now. It's been close to probably an hour, verging on 2. Hester, you're back in camp with these two guys. They've gotten very quiet. They're shivering. They're wrapped up in blankets. What have you been talking to them about?
I think it's been a little bit of trying to calm them and also like see if there's anything. I think Hester knows that fear has a good way of clouding your memory. So he's trying to get them a little more calm, a little more grounded, and see if there's anything they missed, any more information.
Sure.
And also, I think he's sort of taking any opportunity to, like... I think he's just trying to be memorable to them. He's trying to be there, be helpful, sort of be the face that they remember when they remember that they were saved and comforted.
Sure. Make a persuasion check.
Okay. 17.
Okay. For a while, they're really trying to come up with anything, but they continue to give you the same answers, and eventually they become really short, and Corton's like, listen. I'm sorry, I just need to rest for a bit. Sorry, I don't think we don't appreciate everything you've done for us.
No, sir, you have nothing to be sorry for. I'm sorry to push so hard. I was trying to find y'all. We thought you were just on some mining expedition.
I thought we were going to be too.
I'll leave y'all alone. Just let me know if you need anything. I'll be right up the tunnel.
All right. And you turn to start heading back towards the pool and where Starcaller is, and You've only gotten a step or two away, like a step and a half, when one of their hands reach out and grabs yours.
Okay.
And you turn around, and Corton and Trusk are looking at you, and they're like, listen, there was something else. And Corton looks at Trusk and he's like, did you see it? Trusk nods their head. And they both look back at you. And then their faces peel open, revealing these needle-like teeth, these oval-like lips, these tentacles erupt from their head, and they go, and they launch at you. And we'll see you guys next time.
What the fuck?